Hey guys, and welcome back to Mad About Skin. In today's video, we are talking the Korean 7 skin method. Now, for those of you that haven't heard about this, it's actually one of the hottest trends in skincare at the moment, and it's where you use up to 7 toners back to back in your skincare routine. Supporters of this method said it hydrates you to the gods, helps to bring back luminosity and vibrancy to the complexion, and will also just smooth everything out. I have my doubts, because honestly, does our skin really need this level of hydration? But I thought, no, let's put it through its paces and put it to the test. So I've been using this method in my skincare routine for the past couple of days, and I want to share with you my results, thoughts, feelings and opinions. I think there are some pros and cons that you guys need to be aware of before you try this out, and of course I'll be sharing with you the 7 toners that I used if you do want to recreate this at home. So sit back, relax, and let's start the 7 skin method. Now, I know this is going to be a little bit of a controversial video because there are so many supporters of this method and technique out there, but also there's quite a few detractors. I always say when it comes to skincare, use what works for you. All our skin is unique and individual, and different techniques and products will work differently on different skin. That's why I would love it if you would sound off in the comment section below if you've tried this method out for yourself. Did it work, and honestly, is your skin changed forever, or did it just not live up to expectations? Sound off and let me know your thoughts, feelings and opinions. Also, for today's video, I'm going to be doing a half and half review. So this side of my face has already had my standard skincare routine applied to it. This side of my face is just cleansed and ready to go. I'm going to be doing the application of these 7 toners throughout this video so you can kind of see the results at the end. I'm going to be talking about the pros, cons and my own experiences, and if you wanted to jump to one section over the other, be my guest. The timestamps are all in the description box below. Just promise me that whilst you're down there, you'll also give this video a big thumbs up and a like, because honestly, it supports me and the channel so much, and I would love you forever. But with all that being said, shall we just cut the waffle and delve straight on in? Now, first off, let's talk terminology. A lot of people call this the Korean 7 skin method, but in truth, this has nothing to do with Korea. So at this point on in the video, I'm just going to call it the 7 skin technique. I actually learned that this had nothing to do with Korea from Adil Monod, who's one of my favourite Korean skincare influencers. I left a link to her channel below, definitely one to check out. She said that whilst a lot of Korean women love their toners and their essences, and honestly they're super popular in that market, very few use more than 2 or 3 in their routine. The 7 to 10 skin method, which seems to be popularised here in the West, actually was created by Western brands wanting to capitalise on the popularity of Korean skincare. Obviously, the more products we buy, the more profit they get, which is why this technique was created. However, that doesn't mean it's automatically bad, and this is why I wanted to share my results with you in today's video. So I'm going to start with the first toner, which is actually a mist. It's this, the West Barn Company Prep Mist. This is a beautiful watermelon scented mist that just helps, I feel, to add a little hydration at the start of your skincare routine and calm everything down. I absolutely love this one, and also look how gorgeous it's packaged. It just lifts you up, makes you want to reach for the rest of the steps in your skincare routine, and the scent is divine. Now, when it comes to this technique, you can use toners, essences, mists. They're all used interchangeably. Basically, we're just looking for a water-like substance in terms of the texture of the product. I'm going to give a quick couple of spritz of this and just let it do its work. I would say if you're wanting to replicate this at home, probably don't use cotton rounds. I think, that would create a lot of waste. You're best just using it on your fingertips or in a spray and patting it into the skin. I found in my experience, this is what gives the best results, and it just minimises on the waste. The supporters of this technique said it's fantastic for just increasing the hydration because of all the multiple layers of humectants, which is just going to trap and retain all that moisture that you're applying to the skin. I've got a couple of thoughts on that later on in the video, but definitely there is some science behind how effective this can be. Once this has dried down, not completely, I say never let any of your toners dry down completely before you do apply them. I'm going to go in with my second mist, which is this, the Geek and Gorgeous Liquid Hydration. Now, in terms of the order to apply your toners in this method, I would say go for the most watery first, and then move through viscosity to the most gel-like at the end. That, I think, will give you the best results overall if you do want to try this at home. This, I absolutely love. Try not to talk while you're doing this because you inhale a lot of the product with these mists. Just as a side note, this I love, and it's genuinely one of my favourite toners. It just hydrates you so thoroughly. It's got skin compatible amino acids in here. You don't get any sensitivity or redness from it, and because it's packed full of panthenol, it just calms and soothes everything down. I actually keep this in the fridge because I think just that nice little cooling on a morning is what we all need. But that's all down to personal preference. Again, I'll just let that sink in. So let's start with the positives and the pros of using using this? Well, from my own results, I definitely saw an increase in hydration. That's a great thing, especially if you have very dry or dehydrated skin. A lot of people call this out as being great for people that have, like myself, that have acne prone skin, because often you can use these 7 steps to kind of mimic the results of a moisturizer without having to go in with a more thicker cream-based moisturizer at the end. I often skip the moisturizer step in my routine because I think, it just weighs my skin down. Because I'm super oily, I don't actually need the extra hydration. And so this is a really nice way of replacing the moisturizer, and I definitely got some really great benefits that hopefully you'll see by the end of this video. Now I'm going to go in with this. This is the Isntree Green Tea Fresh Toner. Great if you have acne prone oily skin because it just mattifies everything down. It's also got a really nice antioxidant in here, which I think just gives some additional benefit. You can be as lavish as you want with these toners. I think the key thing is just to make sure they don't dry between each step, because all toners will go on better on damp skin. Just bear that in mind. That's the case with all water-based serums and formulations, and so I don't like anything to dry fully on the skin before I move with my next step. I just say like 60 seconds between each one is probably more than enough. In terms of some other pros that I got, I definitely found my skin felt more plump, more dewy, so that of course did minimize the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. This is totally temporary and for that day, but definitely, if you want to just give the skin a little quick fix, a lift and a bit of plumping, I think this technique will definitely deliver that for you. We're already on toner number 3, and whilst that just sinks in, I'm going to move on to this. This is the Rovectin Skin Essence Activated Treatment Lotion. Now, sometimes it can be really difficult. We call them essences, mists, lotions, toners. Really, the basis of this is just a hydrating product in a very watery formulation. So honestly, I wouldn't get caught up on having to just reach for things that are called toners. You can use any of these interchangeably and you'll get the same results. This, I'm absolutely loving. It's a recent discovery, but it's one of my favorite toners. Again, it's slightly more gel-like than the other ones, so you can see I'm moving up in terms of viscosity through these. But this, I get great results from, and I like the slightly thicker toners because I find that easier to apply with your fingertips. You don't need that cotton round. This is said to hydrate you and help smooth out the skin, and it definitely does. One of my absolute favorites for sure. So I'm applying this to the skin, and now I'm going to come on to some of the cons. Unfortunately for me, I think there's more cons to this technique than there are positives and pros, but honestly, I'll let you be the judge of that yourselves. So the first one is the cost. Now, if you're applying 7 products like this to the skin, obviously you're going to have to buy 7 individual products, which is all going to stack up. I'm quite drugstore, and I wouldn't say any of these products are super expensive, but I did a rough tally, and this actually comes in at £95, which is over the $100 price point. That's quite a lot for 7 steps in your routine, so this isn't going to be to everyone's budget. I always say the very best skincare routines are the ones that match your skin type, your budget, and of course what you're looking to get out of the routine itself. So budget should be a big consideration, and obviously this isn't going to be the technique that people want to use if they are on a limited budget and want to cut their overall spend down. That Rovectin has gone in, and honestly it feels so good on the skin. If I tap now, I definitely feel the skin feels a little bit more plump, a little bit more bouncy, and a bit more, dewy and juiced up, which honestly, a lot of people like that look. I wouldn't say it's my personal favourite look, because I think when you have very oily skin like me, actually dewy is often like another term for just greasy, which is often what I see. But if you can see from the skin, I think we're already seeing a little bit of a glow up, a little bit of plumping in the skin. I'm now going to come on to this. This is the Vegreen Alcohol-Free Nature Mucin Toner. One of my favourites, and I fangirl about this so much. It can be a little bit difficult to get your hands on, but I've left links to all the products mentioned in today's video below if you do want to check any of them out, make a purchase, all that good stuff. I'm just going to wait for this to sink in a little bit more and come on to my second con of this method. I think when it comes to toners, you often get repetitive ingredients in all of these. So I looked through the ingredients list, and all of them, bar none, have hyaluronic acid in there, which honestly can be a great humectant to plump out the skin, but if you use too much of it, it can be potentially irritating. Also, all of these will have preservatives in, which is to be expected. Honestly, preservatives aren't the devil that a lot of people would like to make them out to be. Honestly, they're an essential ingredient in our skincare products because they keep everything fresh and skin safe for as long as possible. But of course, you're going to be using a lot of different preservatives in these products and compounding them product on product on product. Similarly, you're also going to see fragrance. A lot of toners have a fragrant component to them, and you're going to be using fragrance on fragrance on fragrance potentially, and again this could lead to sensitivity and irritation. No ingredient is benign. In the right concentration it can cause sensitivity on just about everyone's skin. Always bear that in mind because there's going to be a lot of repetition in terms of the ingredients in these products, and I did notice, having used it for 3 days solidly, my skin was feeling a little bit sensitive towards the end. I don't know whether that's fragrance or whether it's the hyaluronic acid that I'm a little bit sensitive to, but just bear that in mind, and if you have any skin sensitivity, go for an entirely fragrance free option. Make sure sure none of them have drying alcohols in them, and just do, you know, a little bit of due diligence check on them, because you could see these ingredients compounding throughout this technique. Now I'm going to go in with the Vegreen toner, which honestly is one of my absolute favorites, and I'm going to apply that over the top. I think we're on toner number 5 now, and the skin is definitely feeling plump, definitely feeling hydrated, but I'm finding as you progress through this method, it takes a little bit longer for each product to sink in. So you might have to start a little bit quicker and then slow down as you go through it. And I guess that comes on to con number 3. This is quite a time commitment. You know, I'd say if you allow like a minute for each step in your routine, this is adding 7 minutes just in a technique on itself. If you want to add any other serums, moisturizers, you've got to cleanse first, all of that good stuff, this could lead to a very time consuming skincare routine. And again, not everyone wants to spend this much time on the skincare, so kind of bear that in mind. This does give really instant results, so maybe save this technique for when you want that instant juice up, glow up to the skin. If you've got a special event, something to prepare for, kind of bear that in mind, because I think I don't really want to commit this amount of time to my skincare routine every single morning, every single day. The next toner, the 6th one that I'm going to come on to, is this. This is the Isntree Hyaluronic Acid Toner Plus. Again, do you see what I mean? Hyaluronic acid, hyaluronic acid, hyaluronic acid. There's a lot of hyaluronic acid going on here. If you want to know my thoughts and feelings on hyaluronic acid and why I think, you know, people should be a little bit careful with how much they use, I will leave a link to a video I did up there. Definitely worth checking out. As this sinks in, I'm going to pop this product on. And I guess coming to the final con when it comes to this technique, and ultimately, I personally found it a bit boring. All the textures are the same. I like to mix things up in my skincare routine. I like a really nice foaming cleanser. I then like to move on to some toners that are more liquidy, go into some really nice gel-like serums, then onto some creams. I kind of like the textures to be varied throughout my skincare routine to keep it interesting. Also, I minimize the amount of fragrance in these products because I was worried about that compounded irritation. And so I didn't really get the element of sensorial either. And also, I just found myself racing through it rather than enjoying my skincare routine. That's not going to apply to everyone. And some people absolutely love the toner step and will think this is manna from heaven when it comes to applying all of these. But for me, I just found it a little bit boring. I just wanted a little bit more variety in terms of my skincare routine. But this is all going to come down to personal preference, so I'll leave you to be the judge of that and what will work well for you. This hyaluronic acid toner is like the next generation of it. I think I preferred the original a little bit better. I don't know. This one works, but I think the original one was just a little bit more simplistic and just worked better for my skin in terms of the results. So I'm going to put this on the skin. Again, now I'm finding it takes just a little bit longer for everything to sink in because we've just got so much hydration going on. Technically, I did read that this method you can use between 5 and 10 toners. So don't feel that you have to use 7. I think this is the standard. But again, if your skin is particularly sensitive, you might want to go for fewer. If your skin needs a little additional hydration, you might want to go for more. Again, just make sure you match it to your skin and don't feel that you have to use 7, even though that's the standard. And finally, I'm going to end on this. This is the Make Prem Extra Moisture Essence. I think this is cheating because this is definitely like a gel cream, but it says essence in the title, so I thought, you know what, I can cheat because at this point I'm bored of applying liquid toners. I want something a bit different, so I thought I will cheat and use this just to kind of cap everything off. I'd say of all of the products that I mentioned today, this is absolutely my favourite. I absolutely adore it. Now my skin is very tacky at this point. Again, it'll all depend on the amount of toners that you use, and one thing I would say is don't use an exfoliating toner amongst all of this. I've seen people do this where they use multiple exfoliating toners. Not good. You only need one exfoliator in your life, not multiple. So kind of bear that in mind. I should have called that out earlier, but I'd say stick to the hydrating toners in terms of claims for this technique rather than going for too many harsh actives. I'm going to put a small dollop of this on the skin. I do find this works quite well to kind of keep everything less tacky. This sinks in beautifully, takes away that tackiness, and again, just allows any makeup you want to put on top, apply that a little bit better. Work that into the skin, and then we'll kind of do the before and after so you can see all that goodness and see what it's done to my skin. Overall, I was impressed with the results. I think, if you choose your toners right, minimize the amount of fragrance, eliminate any drying alcohols, make sure you're not overusing hyaluronic acid. If you're very careful with it, I think this can actually pay dividends. My skin definitely feels more juicy. I get a nice glow to it. It does minimize on a temporary basis the fine lines and wrinkles that you might have. And overall, I was relatively impressed. I just think, there's so many caveats that come with this. I think you really need to sit down and plan it out if you are going to replicate this method. Definitely choose toners that work for your skin skin type, but that's the same with all our skincare routines. And just be mindful of those ingredients and trying to mix it up. Don't have the same ingredient time and time again. And this could really work for you. Ultimately, I won't be doing this on a regular basis. I don't have the inclination all the time to commit to this amount of toners in my routine. I didn't enjoy the same consistency and texture all the way through. But that's personal preference. I definitely would do this if I'm looking to cheat like an ultra hydrated skin day. I think this could work. So here we've got the before. This is just my standard skincare routine where I maybe use 5 different steps: serums, cleanse, moisturize, sunscreen. This on this side. Then we have the juiced up 7 skin method side. It's not quite set in, but can you see? Definitely got your glow game on. Everything does look nice and plump and hydrated. And I definitely would say you see the difference. You can see it just head on now. Well, I think you can anyway, but let me know. Can you see the difference? Let me know in the description, this comment section below. Wherever you are in the world, send you so much love. Take care. Bye.